You are watching a multi-part series, and this is Chapter 7. So if you want to start with Chapter 1, click right here. Chapter 7, Salvation. We turned into Jasmine's apartment complex and parked the car in her carport. She grabbed her bag out of the back seat and pressed the lock button on her key fob. A tinny honk came from underneath the hood, and the puny sound did little to help the already sad-looking machine. We walked up to the door, and she put her key in the lock. The loneliest hollow click of a key going into an apartment lock in the dark of the night. It echoes through the hallway, signaling to the whole building that you're home. I imagined the rest of the people in the apartment thinking about us. There's that stripper girl coming home again. And another set of steps. She's brought one of her gutter slug men home with her to keep us all up again at night. Lord have mercy on her soul. Maybe it's because I'm narcissistic that I thought everyone in the apartment building was thinking about me. It was probably Jasmine, though, screaming down the hallway as we walked. Ra ra ah ah ah, Roma Roma ma ga ga ooh la la. I figured I might as well join in. I knew the damn words. Everybody did, and you did too. From somewhere in one of the apartments we were walking past, I heard the wasted cries of a college girl drunk off way too much cheap tequila. Want your bad romance? Ah! I fucking love Lady Gaga! You couldn't walk into a bar in the whole country without hearing Lady Gaga that summer. If you didn't like her, you were fucked. Had I been a few years younger and a little more steadfast in my ways, I would have never listened to Lady Gaga. After a while, though, it got to the point that some of my best summer memories were remembered to the tune of a Lady Gaga track. No matter where I went in the United States of America, Lady Gaga was there, bluffing the speakers with her muffin. First, the girls were on board. They knew what was going on right away. After the girls made their boyfriends listen to it, all the boyfriends got caught playing the shit when the old girl wasn't around. Next thing you know, she's on Larry King talking about lupus and shit. Then a new single would come out and the process would start all over again. I would kill to have written as good of a pop tune as Lady Gaga in the latter part of the 20-aughts. For the love of fuck, I'd much rather be eating at a fine restaurant in Milan right now as opposed to eating peanut butter and crackers on my living room floor. You gotta start somewhere, though. Just like that bartender had said, famous is only a state of mind. We stopped suddenly, and I realized we must have reached her door. How long had we been walking? How long had I been singing Lady Gaga songs? How drunk had I gotten? Where was I again? Here we are, she said. She unlocked the door and set her bags on the dining room table. It was a normal apartment made within the last 10 years, boring, white walls and trim, tiled kitchen floor, beige carpet, and recessed lighting. It was a single bedroom, but not a studio. It was spacious. There was nothing particularly special about it. It's crazy how we've standardized our housing to such an extent that any new apartment anywhere in the country feels like your ex-girlfriend's place. I followed her into the kitchen, and she grabbed 2 champagne glasses from out of the cabinet above the refrigerator. I've been saving this for a special guest, and I guess it ended up being you. Thanks for the VIP treatment. Sometimes I think I should really give up on the stock responses. I should think of a second response to being a special guest, in case the occasion arises twice in one day again. I don't know why I feel stupid saying the same thing twice to two different people, but it just bothers me. It's not every day that you party with a writer on the hunt for the American dream. When you say it out loud, doesn't it sound like champagne needs to be involved? That's every day for me. Someday I might find it, and then what'll I do? You're gonna shoot it in the neck and hang it up to dry, isn't that what you said you'd do? That's why you're gonna be famous. You actually know what you want out of life. The rest of us don't. We have to look up to you guys, to tell us what we want. Whoa. Give yourself more credit. I choked on the words a little bit, unable to conjure up a cogent response. I'm just a demographic too, baby. We're all nothing but a fucking statistic, selling our bullshit to each other until we're rotting in the ground. That's why we drink every day, isn't it? The really famous people only sell their shit after they're dead and gone. She popped the cork on the champagne bottle, smiling, and poured us each a glass. She picked them up and walked through the living room toward the sliding door that led to the balcony. She stopped short and turned slightly, motioning with her head for me to follow her. Let's go watch the storm. I was kind of, maybe, just a little, definitely falling for this girl. The roadside temptress on the great interstate of life. Which of us was the lamb, and which the wolf? There was no way for me to find out except to let the night run its course. I had to play my cards very carefully, though, and I knew it. I was in the company of a professional heartbreaker, and I needed to keep that in mind. I followed her out the door, sliding it shut behind me as I walked out. She sat down on a white wicker love seat with a purple cushion. Have a seat, vagabond. She patted the seat beside her, and I sat down next to her. She pulled up a matching wicker coffee table with purple trimmer on the sides, and we put up our feet. We sipped champagne in the night and looked out over the park across the street. I like to pretend it's Central Park. Oh yeah? I said. Why Central Park? Because I wish I was in a big city, with all the lights and the bums and the subway and the money. I can definitely relate to that. I raised my champagne glass in a toast. When I was a kid, my friend's older brother asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. She held the glass with both hands and stared straight ahead as she spoke. What'd you say? I said I wanted to be a dancer. He told me I wouldn't make it because it was too hard. You shouldn't need him in the junk. I know. I was still a little girl, though, and I was devastated. Boot-stomped dreams. That's a sad story. At least you're a dancer now, though. Yeah, kind of. Dancer. Whatever. She said it with such disgust it almost made me cringe. She was bitterly sarcastic. You're a good dancer. Who cares if you have to show your tits? You're a goddess. What are you doing right now? Doubting yourself? Stop it. What about you? Does the vagabond have any sad stories? That was a good question with a long answer. This time it was me staring off into space and grabbing the drink with both hands. I've got plenty of sad stories. Why do you want to hear sad stories? Sad stories inspire my dances. That's what I think about when I'm up there. That's how I cope. I think of all the sad stories I've heard, to remind myself that I'm not the only one with a sad story. Damn, that's sad already. It's an art. Okay, I'll bite. I spent some time in Egypt a few years ago. She grabbed my arm, eyes widening. You went to Egypt? That's so cool! I know. It was a long time ago, though, and I was really drunk and high the whole time. It doesn't even seem like it happened anymore. You want to hear the story? Yeah, sorry. I always wished I could go to Egypt. Maybe you can tell me that story someday. You can go to Egypt anytime, kid. There's gotta be an airport nearby. Got a passport? I got plenty of stories, but I haven't told many people this part. Ooh, private stock stories. Some of your unreleased material? You could say that. Okay, so what happened in Egypt? Well, I was visiting this guy named Mo. I'd never met him before, but he was a really nice guy, and we were having a really good time smoking hash and going to the pyramids and all that. The pyramids! Oh my god, so cool! I'm telling you, Jazz, I've seen some shit you wouldn't believe. You told me you wanted to hear a sad story. I know, I'm sorry. Okay, so this guy got a call one day when we were in this place called Sharm el Sheikh. Sounds fancy. She lit a joint, hit it a few times, and passed it to me. She moved a little closer to me on the wicker seat, and it squeaked when she shifted her weight. I continued the story. So he got this call, and we had just gotten stoned to shit off of some of the best hash I ever smoked in my life. I exhaled the first puff of the joint she handed me, and was surprised at the outstanding quality. I've smoked a lot of grass with a lot of chicks in a lot of places, and hers was pretty fucking good. We're walking down the beach, the four of us, and he's talking on the cell phone. All of a sudden, he stops dead in his tracks and starts shouting in Arabic. He drops to his knees, starts crying in the beach in the summer sun. Why was he crying? Who was he talking to? She passed the joint back to me and coughed a little bit. Her cough was cute. It sounded like a chirping bird. His brother had been killed in a suicide bombing in Israel. Mo went to school in Cairo and his brother was in Israel. His parents lived in Jordan. Fucking tragic. The poor guy just said, fuck it. We're getting high. We're gonna smoke so much hash and get so drunk that my little brother can feel it up in heaven. He kissed his hands and blew it up to the sky. That's awful. Imagine how his parents feel not even being in the same country. Well, you gotta remember Jordan isn't that far away from Israel. The story gets worse, though, you know. No sad story ends with the first tragedy. Oh my god, what else could happen? About a week after I got home, sure as fuck, the poor bastard got killed in front of his own fucking apartment. The same damn apartment I stayed in for a couple of weeks. No way, how? Some psycho was speeding down the alley in reverse and didn't see him, I guess. There was some weird rumblings about murder, but I think it was just politicized bullshit. Can you imagine how terrible it must have been for their parents to lose both children in such senseless ways in the same month? No one deserves to lose two children in the same month. Nobody. That shit is fucking ridiculous. Absurd. Things like that really bother me. Did you ever talk to his parents? No, they didn't speak English. I told my buddy to mention my thoughts in whatever way was customary for them. I didn't want to press the issue, you know. Nothing but respect for the dead, and even more for the bereaved. I've been through that shit too many times to try to press things on people in that state of grief. Yeah, me too. My best friend died when I was really young. She drowned in the pool at a mutual friend's birthday party. We all saw her there, floating, blue and lifeless. Her hair was the worst, though. The way her hair floated around her head. I still can't forget it. Christ, it must have been damn near 20 years ago. That's a sad story, too. Maybe we should talk about something a bit less depressing, don't you think? It wasn't that I couldn't do the old back and forth with the sob stories. I just wasn't in the mood for it that night. I was on the road to find the future, not relive the past. You look like you're thinking. You make a face when you're thinking. A face? What do you mean a face? She laughed and pointed at me. She moved back dramatically towards the other end of the seat. The wicker squeaked loudly this time, and it sounded like it might tear apart. That face! The one you're making right now. You look like you're about to get punched in the face and your hands are tied. I blushed a little, I think. Probably. I couldn't see myself, obviously, but I felt the rush of heat in my cheeks. Aw, cute. You're embarrassed. Don't worry, I won't make fun of you too much. A bright flash interrupted her heckling, followed closely by a loud clap of thunder. She jumped a little, immediately curling up against me on the wicker seat. I love storms, but the thunder always scares me. I always wondered if girls pulled that stuff as an excuse to get closer to you. Well, I guess I always knew it was an excuse. I just wondered if there was any legitimate fear. Or that was just what they said. Like when something scary happens at the movies and they curl up next to you. It's like a pre-programmed reaction. The thunder stopped and she didn't back away. I put my arm around her, like I figured I was supposed to do. We didn't say anything for a while. It was nearing 4 or 5 a.m., and I was starting to get a little tired. I could tell she was, too. Her breathing was slower, and she rested her head on my shoulder. I thought she was asleep, but suddenly she said, "Let's go to bed. I'm tired." "Yeah, me too. Let's go." "How about one last cigarette?" she said. picking her pack up off the table. Sounds like a plan. Wait 1 second, though. I put up my right index finger in that 1 second pose I hate so much, and fished my pack of cigarettes out from my shorts pocket. I've been holding on to this guy for a while. What? A joint. I was going to smoke it with Hooper on the way home from the club. But then you met me, and we're going to smoke it now. She grabbed it from my hand and lit it, taking the first few draws and passing it to me. She laid her head back down on my shoulder and exhaled. What a day, I said, because that's what I always say when I don't know what to say. Yeah, it was. I had a big fight with my boss today. I don't know if I'll be working there much longer. What was it about? Some dumb shit. I got caught smoking a joint out back by one of the born-again shithead bouncers. Brock tried to talk him into keeping his mouth shut, but Jesus doesn't want him to lie and all that. Damn, all that over smoking a joint outside a strip club? Yeah, he goes to the same church as the owner, if you can believe it. He needed a job. Guy owns a strip club and goes to church every Sunday? What gives? He doesn't own the club, he owns the conglomerate that owns the club. He stops by every once in a while to make sure it isn't Sodom and Gomorrah, as he calls it. What a prick. You have no idea how much of a prick that Bible-thumping cocksucker is. He'd fire us all if he didn't need us to line his pocketbook with. She took the last hit off the joint and snuffed it out in the ashtray. She stood up and opened the sliding glass door to walk back into the living room. Come on, let's have a nightcap. All right, what do you have? You like tequila? If it has alcohol in it, I like it. Well, let's do a shot of Cabo then. Sounds good. She walked into the kitchen and picked up a blue bottle of Cabo Wabo from the cabinet bulkhead. She poured 2 shots and took 2 slices of lime from the refrigerator. She smoked good bud and drank good booze. Maybe the American dream really was in North Carolina. Training wheels, she said. I'll pass on the salt, but I can go for a lime. Good man, she raised her glass. A toast, then? To a new tomorrow, she said, with a toothy grin. And to a greasy breakfast at the Waffle House. We took our shots and set the glasses in the sink. I watched her there for a second. She got that look on her face like she was going to puke, and then braced herself on the kitchen sink. One too many? I was the one with the grin this time. Oh, yeah. She ran to the bathroom and shut the door behind her. I've sure been there before, and I'm willing to bet that you have too. You don't know it's your last shot until you take it, and then you know for sure. You always know when you've had too much. Drinking often without drinking too much from time to time is a difficult thing to do. After a few nights out, you learn your tolerance. You can press the limits some nights, but only once or twice a week. Obviously, the smart choice is to quit drinking. There's no fun in that, though. I always figured, well, shit, I'm gonna die anyway. I might as well have a good time. Who cares if your liver is a little worse for wear? Don't drive a car and know your limits. For those of us that know that we won't stop drinking anytime soon, here's my advice. Drink by yourself every once in a while. Figure out how many shots it takes over 6 hours to get drunk enough to be drunk and not go over the line. You have to know yourself if you're going to do this right. She was a pro, and I think we were just over-celebrating. After a long series of moans and splashes from the bathroom, I heard the next series of sounds you hear after someone pukes. There's the toilet flush, the wiping off of speckles and splashes accumulated on the seat and rim, the face wash, the brushing of teeth, and the extra rinse with mouthwash to get the back of your mouth. That taste will not go away until morning, no matter what you do. Then, after that, you lift up the toilet seat again because you're not quite sure it's over. You sit there for a while, hem and haw, and then decide you've purged what needed to be purged. It's now time for bed. If you're lucky enough to be in your own home, you'll probably have the clothes you slept in last night nearby. You'll change into those next and hope they're comfortable. At least they don't smell like vodka sweat and bar food puke. I heard the door creak. She turned out the light as she walked out of the doorway. She had changed, I knew it. She was wearing plaid boxers and a tight-fitting white t-shirt with the collar cut off that said Buck Fush. I guess she had been holding on to that one for a while. She was pulling her hair back, tying it off with a puffy zebra print ponytail holder. "Feeling better?" I said. "Yeah, but it's definitely time for bed." I didn't quite know what to do at that moment. I was really tired and I just wanted to pass out. Would she invite me into the room? I made an awkward move toward the couch and I set my hat and phone on the coffee table. She grabbed 2 glasses of water from the kitchen, handed one to me, and sat down next to me. "Here, drink this. You'll need it." "Thanks, Jazz," I said, and I knew she was right. She seemed to like me calling her that. Maybe she had forgotten that I didn't know her real name. Either that, or she knew damn well and just enjoyed being called by her stage name. Maybe her name was something traditional, like Jessica or Emily, and she secretly wished it was something exotic and stripper-sounding like Jasmine. "Let's go to bed, Vagabond." She stood up, reached over, and grabbed my arm. We walked into the bedroom, which I hadn't seen yet. It was your standard 20-something girl's bedroom, pictures of high school prom dates and volleyball teams, boyfriends and friend boys, and girlfriends and selfies. She must be one of those girls that brings her camera everywhere. I wonder how many of those kinds of pictures I'm in. With social media now, you get to see a lot of them. For years and years, I've been in drunk pictures with people. I hardly ever see them, but I know they're out there somewhere, regrettable memories from another in a long string of parties. You can always tell you're in a chick's room. Everything is meticulously arranged and looks breakable. A blundering drunk like myself may stumble and knock over a lamp or set down a ceramic turtle too hard and break it. You really have to watch yourself in a girl's room. One false step, and you could ruin a cherished trinket from the past. That means you're going back to the couch. Tiptoe and don't touch anything. That's the rule, and you have to stick to it lest you foul the ambiance. Oh yeah, and never yell at the dog. If there is one, just don't do it. She was fiddling with things on the dresser, plugging in her phone and thumbing her iPod. She plugged it into the stereo on her bookshelf and turned around. I found myself looking at that little part on her neck where it looks like there's a stick under the skin revealed by the shirt with the collar cut off. I don't know why. That's just what I remember looking at. "What do you want to listen to?" she said. "That's the question, isn't it? It's hard enough to find girls that want to sleep with the music on, but they always have to ask you what you want to listen to. It's a test. These chicks and their tests, man, I'll tell you. I just hoped I would pass. I crossed my fingers and said the first thing that came to my mind that wasn't strapping young lad. "You were dancing to the Mars Volta earlier, right? Want to get down on some deloused?" She crumpled her face a little, and I thought I might have blown it. She probably didn't want to think about work or something like that. I don't know. She just smiled and shook her head. "Nah, that'll give me nightmares." "Fair enough." "What should I ask her to play?" It's a test because I've never looked at her iPod, yet I'm supposed to know what kind of music she listens to. I just know she dances to the Mars Volta and loves... Oh, that's it. Gaga? Ooh, yeah, good idea. I can't believe you like Lady Gaga. All the boys I know hate her. Ha, I passed. She turned it up loud enough to hear it from across the room, but quiet enough so we could hear each other talking. The room was rectangular, with the bed on one end and the dresser on the other. The door was in the middle of the long wall, and the bookshelf ran along the middle of the other wall. The walls were seafoam green, and the bedspread matched them. A psychedelic tapestry hung from the ceiling above the bed, and one of those ugly dolls between the pillows. She sat down on the left side and patted the bedspread next to her. "Have a seat," she said. I sat down next to her on the bed. "You sleeping in your clothes, or do you want to borrow some shorts or something? I kind of want to see you in one of my skirts." She laughed, probably at the mental image of me in a skirt, which would certainly look awkward. "I'm fine as I am, no skirts." "Take off your pants, boy." "Damn, demanding today, aren't we?" "I just want you to be comfortable. You seem overly polite. Stop it." I got up and I took off my shorts and my t-shirt. I folded them and set them on the floor in front of her dresser, and put my socks on top of the pile. I sleep in boxer shorts, usually. I used to sleep naked, but you never know when something is going to happen and you've got to jump out of bed ready to go. You can't awkwardly walk around holding your junk when your girlfriend's mom is over to grab that vacuum you borrowed, you know? Better to be prepared. When I turned around, she was under the covers on the right side. I tried to turn off one of the weird-shaped lamps, but I couldn't find a switch. "It's on the cord, thanks, babe." I turned the switch, and I got in on the left side of the bed. So many things are whispered in bedrooms. Things that are never said out loud in public. Things that never leave the bed unless some asshole writes about it for you. Sometimes the words are vile, and you'd be red-faced if you said them in public. Other times, they're just too honest to be spoken out loud ever again. "Can we cuddle?" she said, almost in a whisper, before adding, "I've been feeling kind of lonely lately. It's nice to have a friend." I was expecting to hear the bit about cuddling, but I wasn't expecting the second part. Truth is, I was feeling the same way. I put my arm around her, and she grabbed it to pull me closer to her. It might have been 30 seconds that went by before her breathing slowed and her shoulders relaxed into my chest. She had taken the t-shirt off. I could feel the bare skin of her back on my chest. I wish I was able to fall asleep that quickly. Some people are just off like a light switch. I'm one of those people that has a million thoughts go through their head at night. Some of us just can't turn off the machine. I laid there and I thought about how the day had started. From a couch to a stripper's bedroom. Was this the main nerve I'd found? Lady Gaga continued to play on the stereo, and the next song I heard was Summer Boy. Crazy, get your ass in my bed. Sure, why not? I tried to relax, but my heartburn was flaring up. I started to wonder if I'd even be able to go to sleep. I adjusted myself in the bed a little, trying to get more comfortable. I put my left arm under her pillow just above her head, and she woke up when I laid back. Just for a second, though. I kind of felt bad, but she had such a funny look on her face, all squinty, and I just fell asleep looking. What?" she mumbled. She hadn't even finished the words before she turned around facing me and put her left arm over me, resting her head on my chest. I was trapped now, and there was no getting out of this. I looked at her face for a while. She looked really peaceful. I guess everyone looks like that when they sleep. She looked innocent, serene, beautiful. I closed my eyes and tried to calm down and relax a little. I silently listened to the rest of the playlist, and I think I finally passed out sometime during Retro Dance Freak. It's much more comfortable to sleep with a warm body next to you. Maybe she thought the same way, maybe she didn't. You don't talk about those things, you just feel them. It was the clock that got me through the night. She had a clock on the nightstand, and I could see it with my glasses off. Whenever I woke up, I just looked at the clock and realized it wasn't time to get up yet. That got me comfortable enough to sleep through the heartburn. Acid reflux is a fucking bitch, man. Don't forget to take your pills and never adventure without backup antacid. For both of us that night, I think we just needed someone to be close to. Maybe me more than her, maybe not. I didn't know much about her or her life, but I knew damn well I could use a warm body in the bed. It wasn't so much about sex as it was about not feeling alone in a world that feels so empty sometimes. It's good to find someone you feel comfortable around, and it's a nice feeling not to go to sleep alone. We were just two people, after all. We barely even knew each other. Two people lost in a too big world. We passed out drunk in the night. Neither one of us the wolf, nor the lamb.